This meeting is being recorded.
This is the 44th episode of the IWAR Gold Strategy Workshop. We're here, of course, with the brains of the show, Mike Cook, and me, Matt Riley. I stand here and go, I'm terrible. We're jumping right into it because, as you all know, this cycle is going to be crazy. So let's get right to it. So do you want to answer the questions first and bang those out? Or
Yep. Go right ahead.
Okay, so the first question was, how many strategies does it take to actually hit a 501 if you had to like ballpark it?
Well, so it changes. So you basically have two cycles. You have the one where you have less options because of hold 90 and hold 25. On those, you typically need about, if you have 50 in the last two feds, you've got probably like an 80% chance of hitting a 501. So 100 wrestlers in bronze and jade, you could have something like 80 to 100%. It's that ridiculous.
Now, is that a perfect PFF or just a 501 in general?
Just a 501.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect basically doubles everything on the back because you've got to be able to flip 14 and 15, the previous 45s.
Okay.
So yeah, a 501 can get you nothing. But if you want a 501, it's that easy.
Right.
This cycle is a little interesting, and we'll see it more when we go to gold, but this is the lowest I've ever seen gold. There's 56 options basically after just a few adjustments.
Madness.
Like I took out what's hit this cycle, what hit gold last cycle, and 2 cycles ago. It's almost so low that you think maybe 2 cycles ago is still in play, but percent wise we won't do that. But you can already see diamond only has 72, 96 in bronze right now, and 88 in jade. And that's not even taking out what hit 2 cycles ago. That's just taking out what hit last cycle and what's hit this cycle. So gold's actually guaranteed to impact some of them. The only way gold doesn't impact jade is if 29-28 drops, which that's one of the things we always look at. So kind of points towards if there's a tiebreaker, I probably lean towards it just off that. But
okay.
You basically see everything's lining up though outside of that. So it's going to be like, so see jade, if gold is a double drop and even diamond is a double drop and one of the 29 combinations hits. So if that happens in the next 3, you see there's 56 options then at most. So if you had your full 50, you've got what, like a 90% chance of hitting in jade this cycle. It's
maybe I'll play jade.
Everybody else has that same percentage, so you have to get a 501 and be better than the other 5 or 6. You're almost better, like if you're in diamond, most cycles just getting a 500 or a 501 wins fed, so you don't even have to have it look that good. So
there it is.
Different ways, depends on what your goal is. If you just want a 501, put a league full of people in the last and you have a pretty high chance.
All right. And the other question was, is this the cycle that 44 drops on the back 5?
It's technically possible, but we haven't seen it happen in so long that there's no reason to take it on an assumption. That's one of those things, just wait until it happens once before you start thinking of doing it. Don't try to be too far ahead.
Okay. So the trickery of this cycle in that we're down to minimal choices in gold. So doubles are looking tempting.
Yeah. So just the simple things, and we'll go over them right here. But we took out last cycle's hold drop, which was 29-27. We take out 28-26. First, we took out one combination because it's what hit 2 cycles ago. And I told you I had a note because I know you said it when the results came out that you thought that was the combo to take, and it actually did hit that. 2 cycles ago, same exact 2 holds. But that's only happened twice. I went back 50 cycles, and it's only happened 2 times out of 50. Could be even less.
2 times out
than
of
that.
50.
So even though it happened, I'd keep crossing it off, and I'm going to be right like 96% of the time.
Yeah, that's, I think, the biggest thing you get players to really consider is that, focus on the more likely thing to happen, and not to be that, that pitcher never throws a knuckleball. He throws fastballs, and we'll go for the knuckleball every time, and he gets struck out 80% of the time because he never throws it. Bastards.
Then what, 80, 28, 27 in iron, 27, 26 in still. And that's what I really hoped for in still, because it was going to have to happen this cycle. They never would go 3 in a row. At least they haven't on one of these main drops. Like a double drop can go 3 in a row without hitting. But you see, it's really, you might find like one instance, if any. But one of these other holds that isn't a double drop,
Mm-hmm.
you see it's really rare that even 2 occur back to back. But you don't see any 3s. So 27, 26 was sitting at 2. It had to happen this cycle. That would have got a lot worse, because people would just be sitting on that drop until it happens if it didn't happen early. Happening early, you still get a little bit of variance in what people take. So we're glad that's off the table.
Okay.
So yeah, there we go with basically, I mean, it's a lot taken off just from what we just said. It's,
Yeah,
like I said, we're down to 56 options just from that simple little adjustment. Now, what makes this such an unusual cycle is, depending on what you take, you will either do great or likely be really bad. So I predict we're going to see more of a variance this cycle between like 498s to 500s and 488s.
Okay.
There's probably not going to be a lot in the middle, that like 492 3s. People are going to miss pretty good, because if you take one of the 29, 28, 29, 26, worst case, you're going to miss one if it's a double drop. But this 27, 27, which I've jokingly said everyone we've done is really due. You see, it's not happened in 21 cycles in gold, and
Right.
that's it's pretty unusual to go that long.
Oh yeah.
So if you take one of these 2, if you take actually any of the 4 in a 27, 27 hits, you're guaranteed 2 25s. The other 4 at least have a slight bit of overlap to where, if you take 28, 28, you could still miss both here. So
yeah,
2 combinations basically are going to miss if one of these hits. So yeah, you're basically having to decide if you want a 29 drop or a double drop. The 29, 28 was 4 cycles ago, 29, 26, 3. So both have been fairly recent, but not unheard of for them to hit at that point.
And you were saying the 29, 28 would be better for the back feds or not?
It would be, because it was what was in Jade, so it doesn't mark anything off Jade.
Okay. That's, I
like
would
I
feel
said,
like that's like what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And so because I keep saying that, I wanted to put some percentages to that. I actually took the time to show what hits in gold, because like I said, that was the assumption, and it's slightly true. So out of I just pulled the last 43 cycles really quick. 37% of the time what hits in gold didn't hit at all the previous cycle. 19% is Jade. So out of the feds, Jade was actually the biggest, slightly, but it's at least true. So that's a good assumption. Iron's next, bronze, steel, and diamond. So steel and diamond do not occur very often.
Right. No. Again,
This was interesting though. I didn't realize that but like I said, it's
so
just
37%
kind of
of
the
the
one you forget
time,
about. Yeah,
gold
which
does
is a pretty
not.
high percentage,
Okay. So gold does
which would
not,
lend us
right?
to right. And what's funny, you see that would be 26s and 27s if you wanted to go with that logic. So
Mhm.
it really doesn't get you anywhere. That's the bad part about this. It's the margin between all these options right now is very similar. Yeah, as far as diving down into which one, like I said, this one hitting Jade, so I kind of like it a little more than this one, but it's really a guess out of these 5. There's very little
So
to say one over the other.
So if we look at the actual individual holds themselves,
Yeah,
the
right here.
actual move. So let's say we're going to look at that and break down what is like, like for instance, is 45 really due to go? Or is it like 45? Sure, it makes sense for her. 45 is overdue.
So it's been 5 cycles since it went.
Okay.
Would I say that's overdue? Not really. You see it kind of goes through some periods, but it can go pretty long. We got several long streaks right there. It does look like once it's hit once on 25, though, it does like to happen a few times before it goes on one of those streaks. So,
and our 2, 8,
I wouldn't
and
mind it
33
going.
are our 25 uppity ups.
Yeah.
So
I remember I said I always like one of those. I need to make a note to get that percentage next time. Because I feel like that's a pretty good percentage that one of the 25s from 2 cycles ago does hit. It's rare that both hit, but I bet you that percentage of one hitting is higher than 50%. So I'm gonna make
All right, so there's our 8 and 33, and we said 45 was what, 5 cents?
Yep.
5. We're looking at what other options? 5, is that one of them? 5 was one of them. So 5 hasn't been for 6 cycles.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at the 12 is off the table. 22 is
59 is one of the 27s, and that one's been 11 cycles.
And 22 has been a gold hold for a long time. So I'd say that's one you can ignore.
It's got to happen soon.
That's true. It could be due.
It really could right now. But again, if you think it's due, that means you're locking yourself into 27.
Right. And some players, that's the way that, I tell people, if your gut's telling you that, play your gut.
But like I said, with the 2, you have a chance of missing both holds, but it at least has overlap with these 2. So there's a smaller chance that you miss both and have 2 25s.
Right.
That's so likely 27 is the riskier one, because we don't know when this one's going to go. People have been saying for a while that it would. Clearly, it's hanging on somehow.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, so I'll make a few notes here. So Jade last cycle. So we like it a little bit for that. Blank. Yeah. See, what were the 2 cycle ago?
8 and 33.
8 and 33.
So
so which ones have those? So we.
I hope we get good ratings for the show because we're competing with the NHL draft. And I know Aaron and Darren are watching that, but
I honestly didn't know when their draft was.
I just looked up at the TV and like, oh, live in Montreal. Bruins are terrible, so. It's okay.
So if we believe in the 2 cycle ago 25 wanting to use one of those,
Mm-hmm.
that would actually cut out these 2.
Yeah.
So that would give us the 1 out of 29 28s and 29 26s to use.
Right. And I think it's a good way to look at it too, and say, like, at least in your mind, you justify your decision and go, okay, well, that's why we're doing it, because we're going to play the odds that that's what's going to happen, because we know one of the 25s is likely to pop up or be the drop. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll get that exact percentage to see, but that would take us down to, if we wanted to use one of those 4, that's 32 options. Not bad at all.
Yeah. 28s, 26s. Those guys who love to play doubles are probably going out of their minds right now. They're like,
well, no, because there's 8 backs. So if you have a league of 24, take all 8 options, all 8 options, all 8 options. So they get to cover all 3.
Oh, right. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. One of the things I mentioned is the last show got really good reviews. Yay us. Well, mostly yay you. But the thing that people really liked was the part talking about like the 9-10 spot, and why that's important, and why, like, if you get your back 5 right, 9 and 10 is crucial, because if you're going to make a report hit, you need those 2 spots. Like that's. And I was talking to, I think it was Aaron, maybe, and one of the guys I was talking to, we were talking about like why it's important to nail that down. And I think that's a really good way to look at it. Like, okay, well, what do we think? When we start breaking down where they're going to go individually. And I know you have that chart with the shows like the last time we went 25, but it shows their full tracking too.
Mhm.
But do you ever like, just look at like, well, when's the last time I went to 29? And sometimes like, I always say, like, we watch the drops for 25. Would you watch the drops of 26? Because that's what you're looking for 8 or for 9, 10. Like.
Typically, I just worry about what is it 9 and 10. The others, I just kind of have a general feel about, like, obviously, where you're going to put hold 25. When you do a tag, you know that it's very likely that a 30 will be 29 28, and a 25 will be 29 28. So whichever ones I don't have at the end that I think are weaker, I'll have at spots 4 and 5. So I know within my first 1 through 5, I've got hold 25. I've got the hold 30 from the previous cycle that I like more, and the 25. So I've got 3 of my first 5 just off those basic logics.
Okay.
Then you're kind of left with, if you have another 29, you've got your 26s, your 27s, and your 28s. Obviously, your 26s and your 27s can't be at the end, right?
Right.
They're either going to miss or go up. So usually I fill in my 27 and 26s over there, and hold 8, I would use a 28 that I don't like, or the other 29 if I'm using both 29s that cycle.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, I'll get those exact percentages, but I do like, I like having a 30 or a 25 from the previous cycle, because I know 125 typically doesn't go very high, and obviously a 30 has to go down. So I'll never have a 30 if I have a, at a 10.
Okay.
And I had a really good, I only had a 498 and still, but I had great flow, because if you notice, let's see, 30 went to 27, and a 25 went to 26.
Right.
So I had a 27, 26 perfect point flow. I just missed a hold. Or otherwise, I would have had a really great strat with that logic. I took 27, 26. I just didn't get the right 2 holds.
Right.
Close, but still a miss. And then going to the back.
Yeah, the back 5. People always ask about back 5.
I feel like that's kind of all we can say on the front.
Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry.
Towards a few, but it's it's pretty small differences between what we got here. So the back though, what I went over last time, there was a few percentages that caused things to be out. It actually didn't paste over, but I got it over here. Hold on.
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
Just take it over to the other page. Actually, it's not going to read well there. It's merged cells because I was trying not to mess up. So we'll just read it here. So we talked a lot, and we were, like anybody that listened, we were perfect on pretty much everything except the 44. And we had this backwards. But this part right here, everything I was saying held true because like I said, it was a higher percentage, so it's more likely to happen. I made a few adjustments here though, so let me run through this. So 45 is a 44.1, which was what I considered the stronger one, whichever one was coming off the better values.
Right.
76% of the time. That's a slightly skewed percentage because what happens every other cycle typically on one of these two is that it's held 90.
Yeah.
90 is going to be one of the two. So that skews a little bit.
And 90 was
still
43,
though,
right?
even without it. Yeah, this cycle is 43.1. So we can almost lock in that 43.1 is going to happen. Because that's 90. Like I said, there's a small chance that with that initial question we got, you could see 2 here and 1 here. That's not happened in so long though that I wouldn't believe it will. But yeah, we've got 90 here, so that's 43.1. On this side over here, you see that we had to switch it 40. So basically, hold 90 made us miss the back. So we didn't have perfect point flow last time.
Right. That was the word, like it went down to 43. Yeah. Bastards. But again,
it's pretty rare that it happens. It did happen 3 here. Usually it's 2 though. I would say use 45.1 here and 2 at 15. Percent wise, still more likely to go.
And I'm guessing that the 42s didn't do anything special in iron and steel.
So they did kind of enough to be still in the guessing position. 41, 42.
Okay. About 3 in a row.
See,
42.
Yeah, 3 in a row, which you see that it only happened. I think I found 1 right here.
Yeah.
So only the second time in a really long time that's happened.
So thinking about that, I mean, looking at gold right now with 42s, I see 42, 42.
Yep, that's what I was saying. It was enough to really not tell us anything because trying to find it here.
There you go.
Right there. That happened once here too. So pretty interesting spot because it's not likely to happen. If we want to go by a percentage, we would probably say that 41 will hit. But you can't completely ignore that it just happened and still, because like we saw with 90 going to 43, they do tend to like to, do that over a few feds in a cycle if you catch things like that. So I'd probably lean towards 41s.
Yeah, I see
but
that.
It's a really close margin. You see, if you look here, because of these last 2 cycles, It's actually caught back up. So a 41 goes to 44. I had to remove a few cycles because when the 42 jumps to 45, we get a 43. So it's down to 56% of the time. So it's slightly better to still use a 41, especially with the logic I had where a 41 can never go to a 41, a 42 can. So worst case, you get a 42. So I would still recommend a 41, but based on what I saw in still with the 3 in a row, don't be surprised if you see it. So if you want to play a little safer, probably go 41. If you've got a extra guy or two, especially if you take like a double drop, probably put a 42 in there to be safe, and you might hit well with it.
Nice.
So yeah, this could be 41 or 42. It's toss up right there still, but that's kind of the thought that goes into it. Then we got to figure out 44.1 or 2. Really, the 44.1 has been really, really dominant. Eventually, I feel like that's got to end, but why would you not take it?
Right.
So I'd probably lean towards staying 44.1.
Yeah, with 90 at 43.1. It's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, it really doesn't change much with it. So yeah, probably lean towards taking the stronger one. Really, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to find like any consistency here, but yeah, you see it's just looking like it's going to go through stretches. So I would say, unless you're just not comfortable, just keep going 44.1 until you see a couple of these hit.
Right.
Worst case, if I can be right, 6 out of 7 cycles, I'll take that.
Yeah, and also too, I always feel that, as long as if you're like, let's say for example, if you're 1 point, 2 points off, that's not the worst. Nope. If you get a 497, really 498, that's your one blemish, you're pretty good. And there's lots of events going on right now, so scores ahoy.
So if we lock in 44.1 and 43.1, that's going to take us down to 4 backs. So if we feel good about those 4 fronts and 4 backs, even with that, if we keep all 7 fronts open, that's 28.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we go down to those 4 purple, 16 options. So
in theory, you could.
Interesting. There's going to be some high scores, but some people are going to miss bad.
There's going to be some eliminations in some of the events.
Yep.
And this is the cycle for IWL where it's a title match cycle. So it's a big cycle for IWL players. There's Bound for Glory, so that's going on. So I'm sorry, Summer Series. Bound for Glory is not there yet. Summer Series, round 3. That's a biggie.
Let's make sure I didn't have any other notes. Yeah, we already talked about that. Yeah, less than 2% chance on those and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of it.
I think it's a good example of justification of your choices, which I think is what a lot of players are looking for. They're just looking for that, like, okay, even if I feel like, even if I'm not 100%, but if I feel confident, at least I feel going in like, well, I made the choice that made sense at the time. If they did something like 2 cycle ago drop, there we are, 2-minute mark. Shush.
Plenty of time though.
Plenty of time. I will set a timer anyways. Boom, there we go, 9 minutes. Yeah, so I just, hopefully it's a good cycle. I'm actually going to be, this cycle coming up is, this weekend or this next Monday, Tuesday. And then the cycle after that, I'll be gone to Gen Con for that week. So I'll be around the results show, I think, but I'll probably be like sleeping right afterwards. But hopefully, some good results to discuss. I think the double folks are gonna be happy, but we got to figure, like, looking at the gold value hits. So
Oh yeah, this is multis. Since we had a few
Okay.
minutes, I haven't looked at this at all, so I don't know what I'm doing with tag. In general, though, I'll give people some advice. They have really worked on splits occurring. That's what some of these percents over here were. Some feds were like 26% chance of hitting on a split, and that's almost up to 50%. And you see, like, they have really been rough on diamond and bronze. I say rough just because you can adapt to a split. If you know kind of which ones are going to hit, there's typically only a few splits that are more popular, just like anything. Like 27 splitting to a 30, 29, and then 26s are the other one. So you can actually take two strats and flip 27s and 26s with each other and cover both splits off two.
Madness.
Yep.
I was gonna say though, it doesn't, like, at what point, like, how do you just go like, okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7, we're gonna have 26s opposite, 27s opposite, or 27 opposite 26, like 26 with 1, 27 1.
Yeah, and then the other one will have so it's like 1 2 1 2, and then 2 1 2 1. So if it happens either way, you got it.
My God, I haven't won tag in a long time. I've been terrible.
You see, it's happens a few times, but most of the time you don't go 2 cycles in a row in gold still with a 29 not being a 30. 2 of those times weren't too long ago, and then they went on this they really messed up, and you see it's kind of when I started not doing too well with my tag team, because they broke a lot of their they're just set rules over the last like 10 cycles. It's like, this shouldn't have went on that long, this shouldn't go on that long. You see the splits became more popular, so it's I think even when we did that first tag show, I said, don't worry about a split. And then you see it's happened.
Johnny was listening.
4 out of the last 6. Yeah, that's
Johnny B's like, oh yeah.
I see this, and I'm like, yeah, don't worry about that. But you see, it happens in the past. It's just them trying to balance things out, so it's not too obvious that something's going to happen. So ride through this a little bit more, and I bet you we get right back to don't worry about those splits. So, but you look up here, probably still a good chance this cycle. Don't rule them out. But yeah, percentage wise, probably getting a 29 here. Probably get a 30 here still. Until that doesn't happen, I do it. Put a 25 here.
Oh boy. Well, I think we're in pretty good shape overall. It's one of those cycles where it's like, it almost seems too simple, like, oh.
Yep. I like those because, somebody's going to do really well. It's percentage wise, somebody has to.
Now the trick, of course, is giving the good strat to the right wrestler or the right rank, So I'll see if I can share some strats with some people. One of us will win.
I noticed your BWL wrestler has yet to get a star. Is that true?
Yeah, I think the first cycle she had a regional, but it was because of the Battle Royal. I don't think it was because she did well. But I gave her, last cycle, I gave Gina I gave her the essentially Atari strategy, but instead of 13, I gave her 42. And in an 12, I gave her like 43B. Just kind of curve it, and I shouldn't.
We have 4 wrestlers in the BWL that are averaging a star right now.
Really?
So,
Yeah. It's been good so far. I mean, like we had Rain Grady win the was it national?
Mhm.
And the
Queen of the Ring.
Queen of the Ring. So like, that's good. It's funny because Jeff wrote to me. He was like, "Hey, do I get free matches?" I'm like, "I don't know." So he looked it up because he was like, "Can I use them?" I'm like, "Well, if you get free matches, you earn them to the league. You can use them in the league." But no, there was no matches.
Yeah, they don't give out many. It's usually just money there.
Yeah, that's fine. This makes it harder, I guess. But yeah, hopefully somebody will be that first one to win the, IWA.
Still no 501 in the league. So, yep. Somebody will get it this cycle with the nice double drops, probably.
Well, that's the thing. Like, with a league with one strategy, you really got to nail it down. Like, are you going to go doubles? You're going to really roll the dice?
Yeah, because I took those 27s 2 cycles ago.
Mm-hmm.
So my strats are, let's see, where is it? So when I didn't take a double drop, I have a 498, a 497, and the one cycle I did a 486. Like I said, you can miss really bad if you do it on one strat.
Yes.
So, yeah, so people have been warned. Take these. Who knows?
Yikes. Well, I mean, I think it'll be an interesting cycle for sure. I'm crossing my fingers that I hit something well. So I'd like to make a report. That'd be nice, but I'll just take a win. Give me a battle royal. Give me something. Damn kids. So there it is. So yeah, again, like if you figure the back end is going to be a 40, 43, 44, 41, 45, 45, go with your gut in the first, front 5 or front 10 rather. See what happens.
Yeah.
And people who are watching, always feel free to send us questions. We like to get questions that gives us stuff to talk about. But also, Michael will bust out a percentage and show you how you're wrong.
Yeah. and I'll post the I'm assuming everybody has a chart similar to this for the drops, but
I don't think anybody has a chart like this.
No. But I'll post this just because anytime anybody has a guess on anything, like, well, what if this happens,
Mm-hmm.
Go look at it and you could be onto something. You'll never get 100%, like I said, but if you can find anything in the 60s or 70s,
Mm-hmm.
it's worth using and tracking to make sure it stays true.
Sure.
But yeah, if you ever listen to Darren or any of them, they get a bunch of crazy ideas. I think he spends more time on those what ifs than actually doing his strats.
That's the thing about the game is that
he has a new one every day.
I would say you convince yourself that strategy A is the one to go with, and then you sit there and then you think about it and you're like, wait a minute, well, strategy B, and you go back and forth. So
yeah.
But we are about out of time, so we will end our 44th workshop. And as always, if you have questions, suggestions, comments, ideas, throw them at us. We're happy to tackle them in the next show. Here's my timer. So I guess we'll end it here. And thank you all for watching. Good luck Tuesday, unless you're facing me in the tournament. But yeah, it should be fun. So cross fingers.
Then they don't need luck.
That's right.
So.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. See you.